All right, guys, here we go once again. I'm not sure if you're necessarily surprised to see me again here today or not. So this time around, what we're going to do is we're going to do, once again, our 55 World Series in honor of the 70th anniversary of the real 1955 World Series. I guess it's technically 71st now because it's already 2026, but so it is. This time around, we're going to use the PC version of Replay Baseball. Now, I'll be honest with you, while I've played some with the PC version of Replay, I actually have not completed a full game with it yet. I played a little bit of the demo to make sure that it would work, and then I got the complete game. I got this, and we're just going to sort of jump into it. Here on my side, I do have the copy right here of the printed out versions of the Replay charts. So I can sort of follow along a little bit. Unlike some of my earlier videos from a couple years back, we're actually going to use the dice in the game as opposed to rolling the dice ourselves. We could do that, but I worry that that might take a little bit too long. So we'll go ahead and jump into Replay Baseball. Now, first of all, I'll show you what happened here with the Autoplay regular season. So the Autoplay regular season ended up going by very, very quickly. Apparently with Replay, you can only do like a month at a time, so that's the way that we did it. The Yankees wound up winning 112 games for an absolutely dominant season. Mickey Mantle had 39 home runs. Al Kaline wound up hitting 366, but the Yankees were just simply the team that nobody could beat. Meanwhile, in the National League, the Dodgers did win. They won by 11.5 games. Not quite as good as in real life, but still had an excellent season. And the big news is that Ernie Banks hit 64 home runs for the Cubs, though the Cubs could only manage 6th place with a 73-80 record. So he was basically the only great thing that happened in Chicago. He hit 400 in September. Now, if you watched a little bit of Action PC Baseball, you'll see right away that sort of the layout here of Replay Baseball is a lot clearer. It's a lot cleaner. You can see things that are important right away. You can get sort of like the play of the day. You get, the game of the day or the great effort of the day or whatever, the big news and all this other stuff. There's a lot of like extra stuff added here that I think is very, very helpful. But what we really care about here is playing through this World Series that we set up. So we have this set up the way that it was in real life with no days off. And we're just going to go ahead and play. It might be a little bit tricky here at the beginning because I am not 100% certain what exactly it is that I'm doing with this game. I haven't played it a lot up to this point. So we'll go ahead here. First of all, take a look at a couple of options quickly. This lets you know the way that I've set this up. So we're using the 2 dice ballparks. I do have the column 6 home run reroll turned on, as well as the column 5 base action reroll. I believe that all of this is actually part of the board game. As I'm looking through this quickly, looking at column 5, I think that refers to going to the M chart on the action chart. Those of you guys who have played a lot more Replay can go ahead and let me know. And just trying to look through this and make sure there's not any other special thing that I need to be changing. A lot of this stuff will change if we absolutely have to, just to make it so that it looks pretty good. We're not going to reset this season. Interesting, by the way, that to get this set up, what I wound up having to do is I wound up putting wound up creating like my own new, I don't know, like schedule or my own new whatever thing here for the World Series. So it's almost like you have, a brand new season set up. Anyway, so let's see what we can do here. It'll give you the replay usage of these players, real life usage, and so on and so forth. So Newcomb is going to be starting for the Dodgers, and at least that's kind of what the computer gives us by default. And we'll let the AI come up with the generated lineup and see, unlike Action PC Baseball, this one looks a little bit more realistic for us. Line up against right-handed players. The other cool thing here is that, or against right-handed pitchers, the other cool thing here is that you can click through here and you can see the cards of everybody that you're dealing with. We can decide whether we want Robinson or Zimmer starting. I think we probably want Robinson here to play third base. So that's what we do, and we'll call him the third baseman. There we go. So it's pretty easy to sort of figure this out as we move along. Now the question is, can I figure out a good way to change the order around? I guess we could probably do something like this. We can put Robinson in here, hitting 6. Whoops. Because we can select everything together like that. If we're looking at first baseman, probably we want Gil Hodges in there instead of Keller. And then in left field, probably again Sandy Amoros, which is a little bit more real to life. So here you go. This is a lineup looks maybe a little bit better. This time Snyder hitting in front of Campanella. For action, we had it kind of the other way around. So we'll go ahead and do that, and we'll click over here to play the game. Hopefully. There might be something that we're missing. Let's see. All right, well, that definitely didn't work. All right, so we'll go through this again, and we'll make the exact same changes again. This is, by the way, kind of a clunky system, I would argue, for setting up your lineups. It's not the worst that I've seen, but this is a little bit clunky. It would be nice if I could, you know, like drag a player over instead of doing this sort of thing for every single player. And perhaps there is a way to do that. It's not entirely clear to me. Cool thing here is that it'll show you, like, you know, all of the fielding ratings for all the players and everything right away. Oh, this is the reason why. It's because I have to set up the lineup for the Yankees as well. That's the reason why it wasn't working. So we'll do this right off the bat, and just take a look and see if there's anybody we want to change out. We probably do want to change. Probably we want to get Phil Rizzuto in instead of Billy Hunter at shortstop. So we'll put him in like that. And then when it comes to playing left field, we probably want Elston Howard instead of Irv Noren. Noren, by the way, in real life did play in center field for a little while. And that probably looks all right for us. Again, we're going to have Mickey Mantle be healthy and ready to play. And I suppose this gives us our lineup. So we'll have Brooklyn set to AI all, and then we'll have the Yankees over here managed by us. And let's see what it is this is playing. So I've tried to get this set up so that it's not going to play any of the announcement things and all that stuff. I know that that's all part of replay, the computer game, but this time around, you know, we're not going to use the automatic announcers. We'll have our own system up here. As you can see, since I have the pitcher option, I have the, what is this, the first column set up here so that you can see it right on top of the batter, and this will change with every roll of the dice, because really we're using actually the 6-column version of, or the 6-row version of the pitcher here. It doesn't let me open that up to show you, but that's the way that we got it set up. So, all right, we'll go ahead and go. So, first result that we have was in column 2, a 2 and a 6, so it was 2, 2, 4, and then +1 from the pitcher's card, which was the 5. Column 6, you can see right here, that's what it says on the side, that's 6. 4 + 5 is a 4 + 1 is 5, and over in column 2, it's going to be a strikeout. So there you go, and that's the way this starts off. Jim Gilliam strikes out. Click on end play, and then you go to the next play. So that's pretty much what it is, you know, in a nutshell. So that brings up Pee Wee Reese. Now, I'm not sure if these statistics are real life or if they're from the replay. I'm guessing that this is real life. It is. So we'll go ahead and just use the real life stats when we talk through this. But this gives you an idea of kind of like how this game is set up and how it goes. So Turley's pitch over to Reese, and it's a result 5 again in column 1 this time, which is another strikeout. So Bob Turley has struck out 2 in a row, and that will bring up Duke Snider. Snider, of course, in real life had 42 home runs, a 309 average, and so we'll see what happens here. So we go ahead and roll again, and we have a column 6 ballpark effect roll because it's a 4 and a 1, so 8 + 9. Over on column 6, what we're looking for under a 9 is a potential home run or single to center field. So I'm sorry, it's because of this asterisk here. That's what I mean. It's the asterisk here that tells us whether it's a potential home run. So we click up here to roll the 2 dice. It's a 63. Over here in Yankee Stadium, that's a possible home run. We have to roll 1 more die. If it's a 1, it's a single. Otherwise, it's going to be a home run. We roll a 5 and it ends up being a home run. So with that, Duke Snider homers in the top of the first inning to make this a 1-0 lead for Brooklyn. And so now you can sort of see how it is that the replay game ends up flowing. And we just click on end play. There's a lot of cool stuff in this game, a lot of cool stuff with sort of the sound effects and all that stuff. So pretty neat game overall if you haven't played it yet. That brings up Roy Campanella. So we'll see how Roy ends up doing. 3 plus a 1 is a 4 in column 4, which means it's going to be infield. It's hit over to Rizzuto, the shortstop, and who fields it and throws over to first base for the out, and that ends it. So if you are curious about this, column 4 with the infield back is just a ground ball, runner out at first, and then he uses whatever fielder was that was determined by your dice roll. In this case, it was the shortstop because the blue die was a 4. So that's basically the way that it works, and we go to the bottom of the first. So the Dodgers here with a 1-0 lead going to the bottom of the first inning with Don Newcomb on the mound. We'll see how things go. Another ballpark effect single or home run, so we have the same thing come up. This time the rule is 8 plus 4 is a 12. And so let's go ahead and see what happens. Rolls a 15, which is going to be a single here in Yankee Stadium. I'm sorry, yeah, single to center field, that's right. Yeah, the result ends up being changed to a 10 in column 6. What happened here is that changed this 8 number to a 6, and the 6 plus 4 is 10. So one of the things you can do here, I know other people talk about this in videos, but if you want to look at like how good or how bad your pitcher is, you look at kind of what their ratings are. A 4 on column 6, for example, in single column mode, means that he's pretty susceptible to home runs. You want the lowest number you can possibly get. That's kind of the way to read this. So let's go ahead and see what Andy Carey does. We'll just swing away. Well, 4 in column 5 is going to be a ground ball over to short. And the play is over at first base for the out. I'm sorry, play over at second base for the out for the force at second, and Carey beats this one out. Now I have this also set up so that it will automatically use the recommended infield positioning just to make it a little bit easier on myself. There's a suggested infield positioning if you have your chart book that's listed under column 1, and so that's the reason why the infield was halfway with nobody out. With the runner on at first base. Yeah, the third baseman is in, everybody else is halfway to try to play for the double play. So there's one out, and here comes Mickey Mantle. Mantle in 55 had 37 home runs. Now this other stuff here, you can call for a hit and run. You can go for it, which means you try to take the extra base. You can play it safe, or you can play it just normally. We're going to play it normally. It's too early to care about that. Result 3, 1, 2, 3 in column 5 is a ground ball to second. It's a force out at second base again, and there's another fielder's choice. So with 2 men out, here comes Yogi Berra. Berra's roll is a 5-2 in column 2. It's 50 plus 2. 52 is going to be a ground ball back to Newcomb, who throws to first for the out, and we go to the top of the second inning. Anyway, so there you go. That's in a nutshell sort of what happens. There's a lot of other stuff you can do here. You can like edit the play if you want. Or you can edit every play if you want and just sort of play, with like a different game engine and just have replay keep score. You can do a whole bunch of other little different things here. You can go back on a play. You can go forward if you went back already, and so on and so forth, if you like made a mistake. So Carl Furillo rolls a 51 in column 2. Ends up being 5 plus 1 is 51. It's a ground ball back to Turley, goes to first for the out, and there's one away. That brings up Jackie Robinson. Robinson in 55 only hitting 256, but still had that good amount of speed, so we'll see how he does here. Column 5, he gets 5 plus 4 is an 11, and that ends up being a walk. And so he ends up going to first. Now, column 5 here in a good old replay, it's... if there's a raised number by the column 5 grade, there's a chance, not for an 11, but for a 6, 7, 8, or 9, there's a chance that it ends up being it might not be a walk. This is again where you want to look at your pitcher card. A 5 here on column 5 means that Turley's control is not great. If you remember from when we were playing Apple Baseball for DOS, Turley's control wasn't great in that game either. It's just that in replay, some of this stuff is a little bit more subtle. You kind of have to have a real good feeling for the charts to know that, like, you know, the column 5 will tell you how wild or not wild the pitcher is. Similarly, this big W in column 2 means that he's also pretty wild. So up comes Gil Hodges. We've got one out, top of the second with a man on first. His role is column 1, and 1 plus 1 is 2. That means it's a strikeout, which means Turley gets another strikeout. So Turley pitching fairly well here so far today. He has struck out 3 but walked the 1. Still 1-0 Dodgers, and that brings up Sandy Amaros. You get column 3, it's going to be 1 plus 13 is a 14, and that's a line drive over to the third baseman Carey, who snatches that for the out, and that's the end of the inning. Now, what this will tell you right here, the cool thing about this computer game is you can see how different the result would be if the pitcher had a higher rating. So if Turley had a 3 instead of a 1 in column 3, this would be either a double or a triple. Anyways, this is a great play there by Carey, but it's really sort of the pitcher's responsibility for making sure they didn't go through. It was because of the pitcher's rating. So we'll go to the bottom of the second inning, and that brings up Moose Gallen. And he gets a 5.52, which is going to be 1 plus 6 is 7. And it's a possible walk. We can see that Newcomb has this 5 up here, so we roll 1 die against the pitcher's number. And because our roll is lower than the 5, we end up counting this as 2 balls instead of a walk. In other words, that number there kind of makes it so that it's a little bit harder to give up a walk. Next roll is a 1-4-4, which is a 1 plus 35. 36 is a ground ball back to the third baseman Robinson, who throws to first for the out, and there's 1 man out. That'll bring up Elston Howard. Howard, the rookie, 10 home runs in the real-life regular season. Rolls a 6-2-3, so it's going to be a 4 plus 8 maybe. We'll see what happens up here when we make this roll. It's an 11, which means that this is changed to a single to center field. So it ends up being a single for Howard, and or rather, I'm sorry, it changes to a 6. 6 plus 4 is 10. Either way, it ends up being a single, and that'll bring up Gil McDougall. So the Yankees here with their second base runner, and we'll see what we should do about this if we want to try a hit and run and sort of see how that works, or exactly what we want to do. Let's go ahead and try that. Let's see what happens with the hit and run with McDougall. Rolls a 3-1-3, so it's a 3 plus a 5, and that's a single to left field, and Howard easily goes all the way over to third base, so that worked. The Yankees now with runners on the corners, that'll bring up Phil Rizzuto. Rizzuto, who's hitting 8th, and we'll see if he can get something done. Now, the infield for Brooklyn, I think we've got this positioned automatically, I believe. I'm sorry, I suppose that it's the computer who's sort of in charge of that. So we can call for a squeeze play if we want to. We can sacrifice, or we can just go ahead and go for it. Let's just go ahead and go for it. Column 3, 3 plus 5 is an 8. That's a single to center field. That'll score a run. The Yankees have tied this game up 1-1. And we have this third base coach option, which allows us to potentially take the extra base. Rolls a 2 and a 6, added together it's an 8, and here it ends up being an extra base. But the thing that determines whether you take the extra base or not is the runner rating, runner speed rating. McDougall has a 4, and the arm rating of Snyder, which ends up being a 3, and that puts you in a certain column. That's kind of the way that it works. Nice thing about this is that it means that the game has a mechanism to automatically determine if somebody's taking the extra base or not, which is one of those things that a lot of baseball games honestly really struggle with. So now we have, 1 man out, runners on first and third, and up comes Bob Turley. And I'm looking here to see if there's any possible way to bunt with him. And it looks like it's not letting me do that, so okay. We have a steal attempt automatic, I guess, by Rizzuto because of the result of that last roll. But the dice were not higher than this 46 rating, so he ends up not stealing. That's what's going on there. So we're going to have Turley go ahead and sacrifice. Turley's bunt rating is a 2, and so the sacrifice chart comes from number 2. If you look at the actual charts themselves, which you can't see here, I don't have it open, but their sacrifice bunt ratings 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, depending upon the sacrifice skills of the pitcher, or the pitcher of the player who's bunting. Turley's kind of a better bunter. The closer you get to 1, the better off you are. So this is sort of the chart that we're looking at. You can see a lot of these are successful sacrifices. We're not doing a squeeze play. We're just going to try to get Rizzuto over to second. You roll 1 die, and the 1 die tells us that ends up being a 3. What exactly happened here? Anyway, you rolled 2 dice together and you combine them. 4 plus 1 is 5, which means this is another bunt back actually to Newcomb. He throws over to first. That's what the issue with the 1 die was. So the 1 die determined the fielder, which ended up being the pitcher Newcomb. All right, so yeah, that's pretty complex for you, but there you go. Here's Hank Bauer now with runners on at second and third. We'll see if they pitch to him. They should. They do. It's a 5-4-4, which is 4 plus 1 is 5. That means it's going to be a walk on Newcomb. There's not much he can do to overcome that. So Bauer's ability to take a walk is kind of what caused that, and Newcomb now with 1 walk in this game. I'll bring up Andy Carey. So here is Andy Carey, bases loaded, 1-1 ball game. Was a 6-5-4, ends up being a 4 plus a 36, which is a strikeout, and Newcomb gets out of it. So the Yankees only get 1 run in the bottom of the second, and it's a 1-1 ball game. And that'll bring up Newcomb. Newcomb, we'll see sort of how his card is. I haven't really looked into this. I'm supposing that this is the generic hitter card, but I might be wrong. He rolls a 2-2-2, which is a 1 plus an 11. And ends up being a 12, which normally is a single, but because we got the big W, that is actually a walk on Turley. So unlike Appa, where you'll see like, you know, outs turning into walks, here you've got a single that turns into a walk. And anyway, it's interesting sort of the way that that sort of thing works. Now we can do a whole bunch of stuff here. If we want, we can bring the third baseman in, first baseman in. We're not going to do anything really all that different with Jim Gilliam up there. And he decides to bunt. So Gillian ends up rolling. The roll is a 3, which means it's a bunt over to the first baseman. The next roll is a 3-4, which means that it's a potential hit and a successful sacrifice. And we'll see if he's out or safe. The die is higher than this 5 rating, and so it's he's barely out at first base. Skowron just barely able to get back to the bag in time. And Newcomb moves over to second. That's the way that you interpret that one. So 1 out, runner on second base for the Dodgers in the top of the third, 1-1 ball game. Pee Wee Reese now rolls a 4-1-1. It's 3 plus 11, which is a 14. It's a ball hit against the over to the shortstop, Phil Rizzuto, and it's a possible error on Phil. So we'll go ahead and roll here. The rage rating was 36. The roll was a 41, which is higher than 36, and that means that it's an error. So you can tell the good fielders will have really high range ratings, or error ratings, I'm sorry, and then the ones that give up errors like Rizzuto might be a little bit lower. So that puts runners on at first and third now with 1 out. We're not going to play the infield in, I think, at this point. It's a little bit early. Here's Snyder, rolls a 3-1-5. 1 plus 4 rather is 5. It's a fly ball over to center field. Mantle makes the catch for the out. And we'll check with the third base coach to see if he can throw if we're going to get a play at the plate. So I should have explained this a little bit better earlier. The way that this works is you got the speed of the runner, 3 for Newcomb, and then the throwing range for Mantle, which is a 5, and that determines which chart you look at. 3 minus 5 is a -2. You can see there's a lot of hold. But here, he rolls a 3 plus 1, which is a 4, which means that Newcomb is able to tag up and is able to score easily. And that makes this a 2-1 lead for the Dodgers. So we got 2 men out now in the top of the third, 2-1 Dodger lead, still with only 1 man out. And Roy Campanella rolls a full 4-4-5, 1 plus 19 is a 20. This is a ground ball over to the second baseman. It's a close play at first, and we'll roll the umpire rating. And the umpire calls Campanella safe at first. So Roy Campanella able to get on to first base with that very, very close play, and that'll bring up Carl Furillo. And so Yankees with a little bit of bad luck here. He rolls a 3-3-3, either an out or a single depending upon the ballpark effect. Rolls a 3-4-34, which is going to be a fly ball over to Bauer in right field. He makes the catch for the out, and that ends the inning. And so we go now to the bottom of the third inning. So yeah, this takes a little while, but we'll get the hang of it here, and we'll be able to play a little bit faster. And the other thing is that this plays exactly the same way that the board game plays. The one difference here is that this plays a little bit faster. Newcomb's pitch inside on Mantle ends up hitting him 5-3-4, and so Mantle ends up over on a first base. The other nice thing about playing this on the computer is that you don't make mistakes, whereas as I was learning replay baseball, a couple of months ago when I was playing it heavily, I made all sorts of mistakes, which was a lot of fun. Bear up there now with Mantle on was a 6-6-6, and that is an 11 plus a 5, which is a 16, and that is a deep, deep fly ball, and that will end up being a home run into the upper deck. So monster home run by Yogi Berra, and this is probably a ball he pulled, I'm guessing, to right field, and so that makes this a 3-2 ball game for the Yankees, and just like that, this game is turned around. Up now is a Moose Scourin. So Newcomb's given up 3 runs here in less than 3 innings. Rolls a 4-4-4, which is a ball hit to the second base. Remember, column 4 means it's always a fielder. You look at the fielder's fielding range to get the number, and it ends up being 1 plus 2 is 3, and so it's a ground ball to second. He throws to first for the out, and there's 1 away. It's Elston Howard now. Rolls a 5-2-3. The fly ball over to right field, as that's a 27 plus a 1 is 28. Furillo makes the catch, and there's 2 away. McDougal now rolls 3-6-4. 42 plus 3 is 45. And that ends up being a line drive over to the left side, and Pee Wee Reese makes a great catch on that one to end the inning. Now, the interesting thing here is that's because Newcomb's a right-handed pitcher. If it was against a left-handed pitcher, it would have been a single. So with that, we go to the top of the 4th inning, and so the Yankees with the 2-run home run have made this a 3-2 ball game, and here comes Jackie Robinson and the Dodgers. Jackie rolls a 6-2-1. Which is going to be a 59 here against the right-handed Turley. 59 plus 1 is 60, which ends up being a single to left field. So again, you can sort of see what happens here because of the park effects. Now, if this were a left-handed pitcher, it would be a 10 plus 1, which is a single or a possible home run. So you can have a major, major impact depending upon whether you're facing a left or right-handed pitching. This is one of those things that replay does to sort of fine-tune the platoon ratings. So that'll bring up Gil Hodges now with Robinson on at first base. Only the 3rd hit of the game, by the way, for the Dodgers as they trail 3-2. Rolls a 3-5-3, which is a 30 plus a 1, and that's a line drive over to Mantle in center, and he puts that one away for the out. And there's 1 away. Sandy Ambrose now comes up. Again with Robinson on at first, number 8 hitter. Rolls a 6-6-3, and it's a 8 plus a 5. This was a hit and run, yeah. So I'm sorry, I read that wrong. It's 26 plus a 5, which is a 31, which ends up being a double under the hit and run. Ambrose drives in Robinson and scores a run, and now it's a 3-3 ball game. So the Dodgers get the RBI. That'll bring up Don Newcomb. All right, so Newcomb, last time up, walked, and that's all that he has. Ambrose over on second base, tie ball game and a pretty close ball game. Rolls a 4-2-6, which is a 3 plus 1 is a 4, because of Andy Carey's 1 rating at third base, so it's a ground ball over to third. Carey throws to first, and there are 2 men out, and that'll bring up Jim Gilliam. Gilliam, the leadoff hitter, struck out once, and then he sacrificed. Rolls a 6-3-1, which is a 1 plus 31, adds up to 32, and it is yet another strikeout for Turley. It's a little bit too little too late, as the Dodgers are able to tie this game, and we go now to the bottom of the 4th inning, and that'll bring up Phil Rizzuto. So yeah, overall, the PC replay game is pretty easy to play. If you understand how the board game works, it's pretty easy to understand. If you don't understand how the board game works, it can be a little bit intimidating, but you can stick with it. I'd recommend playing the board game first to understand it. Rizzuto rolls a 6-2-6, which is a 5 plus a 51. Makes a 56, and so it's a hit over to right field. It's a single, and there's a chance that he might stretch it. He rolls a 5, and so he does stretch it into a double. And there's a chance perhaps for one more depending on the outfielder's arm. And yeah, Furillo, even though he has a good arm, this final roll is a 6, which means that Rizzuto in the end winds up with a triple. So it was a poor play out there in right field by Furillo. And Phil Rizzuto's speed and Furillo's lack of luck with his arm allows Rizzuto to reach it all the way to third base. And so that brings up Bob Turley now with a runner on a third and nobody out in a close 3-3 ball game, and we're going to squeeze. So squeeze rating is a 2. Newcomb's defense is a 3. It ends up going back to Newcomb. And the roll is a 5-2, which means that Rizzuto is able to make it to the plate okay. It's a bunt right back to Newcomb, and his only play was a first base for the out. The Yankees go up 4-3 on the squeeze play, and that one came kind of against all the percentages. So there's one man out now, bottom of the 4th inning, and here comes Hank Bauer, top of the lineup. Rolls a 4-2-2, which is a 3+5 because of the shortstop's rating. Reese with the 3. Ends up being a ground ball to Reese, who throws to first for the out, and there are 2 men out, and here comes Andy Carey. Carey so far today is 0-for-2. He grounded to second and struck out. Rolls a 4-2-1. 2 + 2 is 4, right? Same thing again. Ground ball to Gilliam, throws to first for the out, and there you go. These column 4 ratings, you'll notice when you get numbers that are low enough, they're always going to be routine outs. We go to the top of the 5th inning, and the Dodgers come up. Now, the way to understand that, too, is that your fielding ratings really do make a difference, but a lot of the ground balls you're going to get are going to end up being just routine outs like that. This way, you don't have to do a whole ton of extra rolls like you do from Skatersoft NP3 if you've watched my videos on that. Pee-wee Reese here rolls a 5-2-4. It's a 5 + 1 is a 6, which ends up being a walk. And so Reese ends up making it to first, and that will bring up Snyder. Again, that's the problem with Turley's rating of a 5. If he has a lower rating, it might be just a ground ball to first, second, third, or so on, depending upon exactly what his rating is. But a rating of a 5 puts you in that walk territory. So here comes Snyder, and this is problem territory for Turley already. Duke rolls a 1-4-1. Means a 1 + 35, which is a 36, is a ground ball over to third base. And the third baseman, Carey, throws over to McDougal for the force of second. Snyder makes it to first on the fielder's choice. And there's one away. Here comes Roy Campanella. Campanella so far ground out to shortstop and has hit a single. Rolls a 3-5-5. 1 + 3 is 4. This is another ballpark effect with a possible single. Roll is a 1-3. So that changes this to a 1. 1 + 1 is 2, which means it's a tapper back to Turley. He turns around, goes to second for the force, and there are 2 men out. That'll bring up Carl Furillo. Furillo rolls a 6-1-3. It's a 1 + a 58, and that ends up being a little single to left field. And we have a little bit of an early hook potential with Turley. I'm not going to go into too much detail about exactly what that means, but basically Turley now is on his B grade, so his less than ideal grades, because not of his batter's face rating, but because of this early hook rule. We'll look that up probably a little bit later on to try to keep the game flowing here. So the way I'm going to manage this is, instead of worrying so much about, oh, he's on his B grades or something, we're just going to manage this like it's a normal game. Runners on at first and second with 2 men out in the top of the 5th. The Dodgers now with 5 hits. Rolls a 4-5-5, which means it's a 3 + 3. That's again a ground ball to Rizzuto. His grading was a 3, so 3 + 3 is 6. Ground ball to Rizzuto, throws over to first for the out, and that will be that. And we do this early hook check again, and so Turley goes back to his A ratings, but we're not going to worry about that too much. That early hook thing, by the way, I think is not part of the board game. I get the feeling that that's a part of the computer game only. But you guys who are more familiar with replay, you can correct me down in the comments, and we'll find out more. So go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Here's Mickey Mantle leading this off for the Yankees. Mantle so far was hit by a pitch and also earlier grounded to second. He rolls a 6-3-5. 5 + 31, 36, which is a little fly ball to right field. Furillo's got that one for the out, and there's one away. Yogi Berra now, who hit the home run. He also grounded out weakly to Newcomb. And the roll is a 3-6-2, which is a 3 + a 47, a 50, and that means it's a single to right field. And so Berra ends up on first base, and we have the Dodgers have to worry about potential early hook. Here comes Moose Skowron. Skowron today ground out twice, once to third and once to second, so he's 0-for-2. His roll is a 3-4-3, which is a possible rare play. 3 + 57 is a 60. This roll, if it's even, it's going to be a normal play. If it's odd, it's a potential rare play if we have a 3 or a 5. And we have a 5, so it's a possible rare play. Now we'll roll 2 dice, and then we look at the rare play book, which I don't have in front of me. It's a 3 and a 4. It's a ground ball to shortstop. Reese gloves it, flips over to second base for the force out, but Gilliam drops the ball as he turns around to do the pivot, so they get 1 out. And they do get 1 out. That was that roll first, was to see if he dropped it before the out call was made or after. He dropped it before because that roll is lower than his error range. So there's no roll on Gilliam, and it's just a scour and it's safe at first on the somewhat freak play. So 2 men out now in the bottom of the 5th, still 43 Yankees, and here comes Elston Howard. Rolls a 5-1-6, 3 plus 4 is 7, and that means a walk charge to Newcomb. And Newcomb is temporarily on his B grades. So we'll see how Newcomb does here. Rolls a 3-1-4, 5 plus 13 is an 18. See, that 5 is his B grades, which doesn't do him any good. It's a double by McDougal that scores 1. Howard at third base, and he's going to check over to the coach. He rolls a 6 plus 6, which is a 12, which means that they hold him. So with 2 men out, the Yankees decide to hold Howard at third base, but they have a 5-3 lead now on the double by McDougal. That brings up now Phil Rizzuto with 2 men out, bottom of the 5th inning. Rizzuto so far today is 2 for 2, has a single, and then of course that big triple. Rolls a 1-3-6. 2 plus 5 is a 7, which is a pop out over to second base. McDougal makes the catch for the out, and we go to the top of the 6th. Newcomb, by the way, is going to be on the B grades permanently, and so we've got to watch out for him possibly being taken out of this game early. So we go to the top of the 6th inning after all that complicated stuff. It's a 5-3 lead for the Yankees, and here comes Gil Hodges. He rolls a 3-4-2, which is a 1 plus a 30. Fly out over to right field on the 31, and Bauer makes the catch for the out, and there's 1 away. Sandy Amaros up now. He's 2 for 2. Sorry. He's 1 for 2. He lined out to third base and hit a double. The Dodgers with only 5 hits so far, and really need the bats to wake up. Rolls a 6-3-6, which is a 4 plus a 31 for a 35. Short fly over the left field. Howard makes the catch for the out, and there are 2 away. And up now comes Newcomb, and we'll see if they pinch hit for him or not. And they do. It's going to be Rube Walker who comes up to hit, just as I expected, because of that early hook rule. With Newcomb on his B grades, the decision was made to go ahead and take him out. So up comes Rube Walker for his first World Series appearance. He rolls a 3-5-3. This was 1 plus a 3, but it's a ballpark effect. So if you're wondering what triggers that, it's the fact that these squares down here are shaded. The fact that they're shaded is the thing that brings up the ballpark. Roll here is a 53, which changes this to a 5, throwing a 3 to a 5. And so it ends up being 5 plus 1 is 6. 6 in column 3 is a fly ball over to center field. And the center fielder there, Mantle, makes the catch for the out. And we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. So the Dodgers do nothing in the top of the 6th, still a 5-3 lead for the Yankees, and that will bring up Bob Turley, and he will hit for himself. Turley bunted twice, so he's had no official at-bats and did get an RBI. His rolls a 3-3-1, 5 plus 4 is a 9, and that's a clean single to center field. So Turley, fairly good hitter, gets the base hit, and that'll bring up Hank Bauer. Bauer rolls a 5-5-4, which is a 3 plus a 15, ends up being an 18. That will be an infield single there for Hank. And I'm not sure what part of the infield that was too. Is one of the things the replay doesn't quite tell you. But the Yankees now have runners on at first and second with nobody out, and that brings up Andy Carey. Carey so far today has grounded out twice and has struck out, so he's 0 for 3. Roll is a 6-4 for a possible pass ball. Because of this base action that happened in relation to the thing that happened before. Campanella's rating was a 5. The pass ball roll was a 1. So Campanella blocks the pitch and we don't have to worry about it. Now we'll try it again. Rolls a 1-2-3, which is 4 plus 35, a 39. Ground ball over to first base. Hodges makes the play and throws over to third base for the force out. So they get the lead runner on a kind of unusual play. Ground ball over to third and goes over to first instead of trying for the double play, but that's kind of the way that it works. And there's 1 man out, and here comes Mickey Mantle. Okay, you wish there were 2 men out if you're the Dodgers. The infield here, by the way, is all playing halfway. That's what that HW means. Mantle's roll is a 1-5-1, which is a 4 plus a 30, a 34, and that ends up being a walk. So Russ Meyer now has walked one, and I forgot to mention that Russ Meyer came in. He was the new pitcher in relief of Newcomb. So now Yogi Berra up there with the bases loaded, and let's see what happens here. Berra so far today has a home run and a single, 2 for 3. Rolls a 6-5-5. 6, of course, means possible power. This is a deep fly over to right field. Berra makes the catch for the out, but it's deep enough to score 1. So Bauer ends up scoring. Carey moves to third. Mantle stays at first. And now with 2 men out, it is a 6-3 lead for the Yankees. And that will bring up Moose Skowron. Skowron rolls a 5-2-6. 4 plus 32 is 36. And that'll be a strikeout there in column 5. And that ends the inning. And we go to the top of the 7th. But the Yankees add 1. And this is a 6-3 ball game. So leading off the top of the 7th is Jim Gillian up there against Bob Turley. Gillian rolls a 1-1-5. 1 plus 4 is 5, which is a strikeout. And down he goes. That is strikeout number 5 for Turley. 1 away, and here comes Pee Wee Reese. Rolls a 6-1-5. It'll be 3 plus 16, which is a 19. That's a deep fly ball over to right field, but Bauer able to get there in time for the out, and there's 2 away. Now here's Duke Snider. Snider so far had the home run today. He's 1 for 3. Rolls a 4-6-5. 4, it's a 3 plus a 4, which is a 7. The ground ball, by the way, was hit to the first baseman. That's where that 3 comes in. And it's a routine ground ball to Skowron, who steps on the base for the out. There is a batter's face boost check that goes on here. So it looks like the batter's face for Turley is going to be increased a little bit here once he comes back out again. We'll take a look at that again when we get to it. And you can hear it's the time for the 7th inning stretch, but we'll cut this off a little bit early. Elston Howard comes up now. He's a 1 for 2 with a walk. Rolls a 1-4-1. 4 plus 2 is a 6, and that's yet another strikeout. This time Russ Meyer picking this one up. His second strikeout that Russ Meyer has to his credit, and there's 1 out in the bottom of the 7th. Gil McDougall now rolls a 5-6-4. It's a 5 plus 3, which is an 8, and that's going to be a walk. So Meyer ends up walking another one. He's walked a couple and struck out a couple, and that'll bring up Phil Rizzuto. Rizzuto's 2 for 3. He had a line out to second base last time up. McDougall, fairly good runner, and we may do a little bit of hit and run, try to force the issue. The roll's a 3-4-5. That's a fly ball over to center field, as it's a 4 plus 21. There's a chance that McDougall might be doubled off at first base. We'll see what Snyder's throw is like. The roll is a 5 against the arm of a 3. That means that McDougall ends up making it back okay. And there are 2 men out. That'll bring up Bob Turley. So Turley comes up there here in the bottom of the 7th. He's holding the Dodgers, the mighty Dodgers, to only 5 hits, and he will hit for himself. Rolls a 6-1-3. 2 plus 16 is an 18, and it's a deep fly ball to left field. Amaros is there to make the catch for the out, and that ends the inning. And so we go to the top of the 8th inning, and the Yankees holding on to a 6-3 lead. That brings up now Roy Campanella. Roy has 1 for 3 today with 2 ground outs and a single. Campanella's rolls a 3-5-1, which means it's going to be this ballpark effect. It's an either potential single or potential out, likely going to end up being an out. Rolls a 1 plus 2, which is a 3. And that's going to be a little tapper over to the pitcher. Turley fields it and throws to first for the out. There is 1 away. We wanted to look here at Turley. It doesn't have his batter face rating updated at all. We won't worry about that right now. Carl Furillo now rolls a 4-4-6. So 4 means it's second base. Or 4, I'm sorry, means column 4. 6 means it's a second baseman. So it's a ground ball to McDougall, whose rating is a 1. 1 plus 3 is 4. McDougall throws to first for the second out. Again, like I said, no matter what the rating is, whether it's a 1 or whether it's a 5, 5 being the worst, 1 being the best, it's always going to be an out because the roll was small enough. 2 men out, and here comes Robinson, rolls a 4-4-5. Means it's again going to be McDougall, and it's going to be 18 plus 1 is 19. McDougall with a good rating, and that's out at first base. If McDougall's rating were a little bit worse, it would end up being a single. So there you go. And that does it. And we go to the bottom of the 8th inning as the Dodgers go down quietly in the top of the 8th. The Yankees still with a 6-3 lead. And here now is Hank Bauer. Bauer today is 1 for 2 with a 2 for 3, sorry, with a walk. Rolls a 2-4-4. 3 plus 3 is 6, and that's going to be a strikeout for Clem Labine, the new relief pitcher for the Dodgers. So 1 away. That'll bring up Andy Carey. Carey rolls a 5-2-5. 4 plus 27 is 31. It's a fly ball over the center field, and that's caught by Snyder for the out, 2 away. That brings up good old Mickey Mantle. Mantle was hit by a pitch and walked, and other than that was out twice, a ground ball and a fly ball. Mantle's roll a 3-3-4. It's 2 plus 14, which will be a 16, and that ends up being a triple to center field that gets by Duke Snider. Poor fielding out there in the cavernous Yankee Stadium by the Duke, and Mantle winds up on third base with a triple. But Mantle on third base now, bottom of the 8th inning. Yankees with the 6-3 lead, and this will bring up Yogi Berra. Berra today, 2 for 4 with the home run and the single. He's driven in 3. His roll's a 4-4-3. 3 means it's going to be second baseman. So it's over to Gilliam. Now the 4 here plus the 4 is an 18 on Berra's card. Gilliam's rating's a 2, which adds up to 20, which means it's a grounder and a potential close play at first base. If he rolls a 1 or a 6, he's safe. Otherwise, he's an out. And the roll is a 3, which means that he's called out at first, and that will do it for the bottom of the 8th for the Yankees. And so we go to the top of the 9th inning. Bob Turley looking to complete the complete game, and he is still on his A rating, so he's done well so far. You guys can all tell me about exactly what this signifies. I think this is the number of batters to face or something like that. I haven't gotten all into all the advanced stuff that I'm playing with right now. Hodges rolls a 3-1-4. It's 1 plus 13, which is a 14, and that's a line out to carry the third baseman for the first out. Again, if Turley's rating was a little bit worse, it would have been either a double or a triple, so there's one away. Up now is Sandy Almaros. Turley pitching very well today. Roll is a 5-1-2. 5 plus 5 is 10, and this is where Turley's control hurts him. That column 5 has been killing him all the time. That ends up being a walk for Sandy Almaros, and there is a runner on at first base. That brings up Clem Labine, who almost certainly will not hit for himself. So runner on at first base, 1 out, 6-3 ball game. Here comes the pinch hitter, and it's going to be George Shuba. No surprises there. If you've been watching these 1955 World Series games, you know that Shuba comes into this situation a lot. Rolls a 5-1-5, and that's going to be another walk. 5 plus 5 is 10. And Turley has gotten himself into some trouble. So 1 man out. He has walked 2. And we'll see what Turley can do now. He's still on his A rating, so we'll try to give him the complete game. That brings up Jim Gilliam. Gilliam's roll is a 6-4-4. 2 plus 16 is an 18. I'm sorry, 2 plus 6, rather, because it's a righty, is an 8. Single to left field, and Howard ends up fielding this one. And the question is, do we try to throw Almaros out of the plate or not? Howard has an arm of 3. Almaros has a speed rating of 4. We will try to throw him out of the plate. Runner tries to score, so we'll roll 1 dice against the runner's speed, and the roll is a 5 against the throw rating or speed rating of 4, which means that Howard does throw Almaros out of the plate. So the Dodgers try desperately to get that 4th run, but it's a great play by Elston Howard in left field to throw out Sandy Almaros, and there are 2 men out now as Shuba moves over to third base. So that brings up Pee Wee Reese now. That's a base hit for the Dodgers, by the way. They have 6 hits so far, but they're running out of time. So potential tying run at the plate in Pee Wee Reese. 2 men out, top of the 9th inning. Turley staying in there and hoping that he can get to the complete game. Rolls a 4-6-6, and that's exactly what he wanted. Ground ball to Andy Carey because of the 6. Ground ball to third base, he throws over to first for the out, and that does it, and there's your ball game. So the final score here, Yankees 6 and the Dodgers 3. You can see Bob Turley, of course, gets the win. Don Newcomb ends up being charged with the loss, and Yogi Berra, with his excellent day at the plate, ends up becoming the MVP of the game. And that's the end of this one. And so we go ahead and exit, and the Yankees now with a 1-0 lead in this World Series. So there you have it. That's and you can see this little cute thing I have here on the microphone. So that's the end of that one. That's how Replay Baseball works. We'll try to play this a little bit faster next time, but I wanted to make sure I explained at least some of this to you guys. I know that it's a lot of sort of numbers here and numbers there. It's just sort of the way that the Replay engine works. Helpful for me, too, to sort of announce these so that I can make sure that I'm paying attention to what's happening and how everything works. Hope you enjoyed that. If you're not a fan of Replay, I doubt you've made it this far, but if you have, this is the game definitely to check out. I consider this game to be superior in many ways to games like Stratomatic. If you haven't played it yet, you really should. And the computer game, I think, is clearly better than Action PC Baseball, at least in my opinion, but you can let me know what you think down in the comments. There you have it. We'll have another one of these tomorrow, and I'll talk to you then. Bye-bye.